So I have the front and the back covers of my book cut out. Now what I need to do is I need to cut the hardcover for the spine. So to get that measurement, I'm going to go ahead and to get the width of it, the thickness of it, the thickness of the spine, I'm going to go ahead and just trace it. So I'm going to set the book down here, the text block down here, and I'm going to go ahead and trace the width of the book. All right. So there's the width of my book drawn on here. Now for the height, of the spine, I'm going to make it the same height as the cover. So I can take this height here, and I take the height of the spine that we see, height of the text block, and I'm adding 1/4 of an inch to that height. So I know that the height of the spine, if we recall, is about 12 inches. From 0 to the spine to, show you this way, I measure the height of my spine. It goes from 0 to 12 inches. So I'm going to add 1/4 of an inch to that height, so a total of 12 and 1/4 inch. So we have it here is 12 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and make this line at the width a little bit darker. So that's 12 inches right there. I'm going to go ahead and add on 1/4 of an inch. So that's how tall I want it to be. Is that the width of it? The width right there. And it needs to be a 12 and 1/4 of an inch. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and cut that out in the same fashion as before. So make sure that it's facing away from me. I'm going to push the ruler down. Okay, 1 pass through, 2 pass throughs. All right. And then I'm going to put the ruler along this edge, push down on my ruler hard so it doesn't slip. So, oops, I went out, so I'm going to go ahead and go back. Make 1 pass through. Uh-oh. 1 pass through. I'll clean that up in a minute. 1 pass through my with my X-Acto knife. Okay, I need to go through and clean that up a little bit. I'm going to use it without the ruler, so I'm going to go ahead and push in and make sure that I cut it through here. That's actually a good thing that happens, so I can show you how to clean that up if need be. Go ahead. I'm not going to force it out. I want to make sure that it's cut all the way through the cardboard. So I'm going to put another pass here. Pass. And I don't really feel I need the ruler for this, so I'm just going to push down and cut that out. All right. So there's the thickness. So with that right there, I can go ahead and clean it up by pushing down really tough with my X-Acto knife and slowly going across until I cut out some of that excess material. Now here's the height of my spine. There we go. So that's going to be the spine. The spine, the heart of the cover of my book. So in the next step of creating our hardcover book, we're going to go ahead and glue our boards to the paper cover. So I'm going to clean out my space, go grab my paper that I'm going to be working with. In this case, I'm going to be using this bright red construction paper. So I'm going to go ahead and place the board pieces, which you can't see all the way down on the paper, okay, and the spine down the center. So we'll talk about the measurements that are going to be in here, okay. And then so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to start with one side first. Let's just say it's the front side cover. Okay. I'm going to start with this. I'm going to pour some glue, a lot of glue, into my palette. And I'm going to take my paintbrush here. Go ahead and put it down on the board. Cover up the board. Okay. Cover up one piece of the board and lay it down on the construction paper here. Push down. Okay. Now I'm going to be putting down the spine of the book next to that front side cover. So what I want to do is I want to measure a 1/4 of an inch to the placement of the spine. So I'm going to go in from the edge of the board, the first board, the 1/4, go to the inches side of the ruler. Sorry. Go to the inches side of the ruler. I'm going to measure 1/4 of an inch in and put a little mark. I'm going to do the same thing down here on the bottom. Make sure that the board is lined up with the 0 and go 1/4 of an inch in and make a mark. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the spine is 1/4 of an inch at that 1/4 of an inch mark. That's going to leave some space in between the cover and the spine so that it can bend. If it's right up against there, the book's not going to bend. So we need to have that 1/4 of an inch space here. I also want to make sure, what I want to do is I want to use my ruler at the bottom here to make sure that it's even. Okay, so that it's running along even right here, and which it is, because I don't want an uneven cover. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take some glue, just put along the spine here. Okay. And then take that cover and make sure it's right along the edge of that ruler. Make sure that it's up against both the mark up here, that's 1/4 of an inch, mark down here, that's 1/4 of an inch, and push down. Make sure it's secure. And I'm going to go ahead and add another 1/4 of an inch right here. So 1/4 of an inch from the spine right here, 1/4 of an inch from the spine right here, and go ahead and lay down the second piece of board. And take this and add some glue. Cover the entirety of this board. And lay that next piece of board. I want to get my ruler, line it up at the bottom so so that I make sure that my next board is lined up straight as well. Line it up with the 1/4 of an inch. See there, how it's lined up. Line it up with the 1/4 of an inch marks that I made. 1/4 of an inch mark there. Press down. All right. After I get those pieces glued down there, see my, after my pieces are glued down there, I need to cut off the excess paper. So I want a little bit less than 1 inch all the way around. So go ahead and cut off the excess paper about 1 inch all the way around, 1 inch thickness. So I'm going to go ahead and place my paper on the cutting mat. Make some notches that are approximately 1 inch or a little bit less. Right here, right here. Go ahead and use my X-Acto knife, okay, to cut along here. Okay, cut off that excess paper all the way around. Here is about 1 inch there. So I'll go ahead and measure another 1 inch down here. Cut off all this excess paper that I have. Doesn't have to be 100% perfect. We just don't want too much paper. So we're going to end up folding it over. Okay, break off that excess. Flip to the next side. Cut off, make it about 1 inch on this side. 1 inch over here. My ruler. This way. And now for the 4th side. My pencil should be about 1 inch here, about 1 inch here, maybe another 1 inch here, and then off the page the rest of the way. Make sure my paper's on the cutting board. Cut. Make sure you're cutting away from yourself. All right, there we go. All right, so we have just a little bit of paper all the way around our book. You're going to cut off the corners to help you fold over the edges. So what you want to do is you want to cut it at an angle, kind of like this. You can use scissors or you can use your X-Acto knife. So at about an angle like this, and at the tip, you're going to go ahead and leave a little gap. So it's kind of going to be like this V shape. Okay. You can do that to all 4 corners. Like that. Kind of at this angle. Like so. Okay.